Alright guys, today we're going to hit lesson 101. We're going to translate mathematical phrases into algebraic form. And we're going to translate geometric relationships into algebraic equations and solve it. So let's take a look at this table. I want you to just kind of take a look at it, study it a little bit. To the left we have some word phrases, and they have written them then on the right either in an algebraic expression or an algebraic equation. Now, real quick, which one of these is an algebraic equation? Well, it would be this one right here because it has an equal sign. If it doesn't have an equal sign and it has letters and numbers, then it's an expression. So for just a couple examples, if you have to do twice a number, the way to write that as an algebraic expression is 2 times the letter. I want you to take a look at this one down here. If you have half of a number, half of multiply, you can take 1/2 times n, or you could take the number n divided by 2. Either one of those would be an accurate way to write that expression. Down here we have the equation 17 is equals 5 more, so you would add 5 to twice the number. They took 2 times n. So we're going to be doing some of those phrases, those word phrases, into expressions and equations today. If you had to do this one, it says if 5 less than twice the number is 17, what is the number? Well, we know that it's going to equal 17. That was the is 17 here. We just did that part. And it's 5 less, so we're going to subtract 5. Then twice a number. And 2 times whatever letter you choose. In this case, I chose y. Then you could solve it, just like we've been solving equations for several weeks now. All right. Here's one put into a word problem. A taxi company charges $1.60 plus $3 per mile, metered at tenths of a mile. Write an equation that relates the total fare in dollars to the number of miles, m, of a taxi ride. Then use the equation to find the fare for a 6.4 mile taxi ride. All right, so we're actually finding out what f equals. So f equals the fare, and we know that it's $3 for each mile. And when they said metered at tenths of a mile, that just means that you can take m out to the tenths place to figure out how much it's going to cost. But they also have an additional one-time charge of $1.60. So there's our equation, first of all. Then they want us, and you can see we have 2 letters, so then they want us to replace m with 6.4. So we'll do a little substitution here. We've got 3 times 6.4 plus the $1.60. All right, we would subtract 160. So we've got, well, I'm sorry, we would take it 3 times 6.4, which is $19.20, and then we would add the $1.60 to that. And the fare for this taxi ride then would be $20.80. So again, we've practiced writing word problems into equations at times, but there's an example of one with 2 variables there. All right, another way we could use writing equations is to figure out angles, special pairs of angles like complementary and supplementary. We know that if these 2 angles are supplementary, they're going to equal 180 degrees when we add them together. So we've got this angle, 2x, plus this angle, which is x. If we combine our like terms, we have 3x equals 180. Divide both sides by 3. And we find out that x equals 60. Now let's go back to the original question though. It says what's the measure of the larger angle? Well, if it's 2 times x, that would make the larger angle 120 degrees. They didn't ask us for it, but we did figure out that the smaller angle is 60 degrees. All right, now we could, as we look at this slide, make some word phrases up for these algebraic expressions. We could kind of do it backwards. So what I would like you to do is make up a word phrase for these 5. This is going to be in place of part of your practice set problems. Let me give you an example. You could say that you would take a number 3 times larger. Okay, I don't want you, like here, I don't want you to just say x plus 4. I want you to word it in a different way. You can refer back to the table back here if you want to rewind your recording there. Okay, so why don't you try those 5? See if you can come up with just a word phrase that if I read your word phrase, these are the expressions or equations I would write. So what I want you to do, I want you to do 1 through 3 on the previous slide. And then I want you to do practice set A, C, and E only.